What is up, everybody? It's Larry back with you from 5031 Media, and this week I want to talk about what is probably one of the most underrated phones of 2018. That is the LG V40 ThinQ. So it seems to me like every year LG comes out with a pretty great phone. They did have a misstep with the G5, I believe it was. That was when they tried to do the modular design. They had some fit and finish issues there, some manufacturing issues, but they got right back on track when it came to the G6. But it seems like about every year they come out with a great phone, but it just sort of gets lost in the shuffle, whether you have the hype of now the Pixel from Google or the Apple iPhone like it is every year, or Samsung. Somehow LG just sort of gets shuffled around and lost in the mix. So I'm going to just give you guys my thoughts on the LG V40. I'm not going to keep saying ThinQ, I'm just going to call it the V40. So from here out, the V40. So let's talk about the hardware. The whole overall design is very familiar this year. It's very familiar for 2018. You have a notch up top. You have two front-facing cameras, one regular, one a little bit wider. Not as actually as wide as some of the other devices that I've looked at this year, but it's nice to have options. Around the back, you have three other cameras, so a total of 5 cameras on the V40. The rear, you have your normal, telephoto, and wide. I've posted some pictures on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me there, you can check those out there, but I'll also throw some pictures up throughout this video when we start talking more about the camera. USB Type-C charging. This also still has the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. It has a built-in DAC as well. So if you have some high quality headphones and something like Tidal or something that gives you a high quality output, you're going to definitely see the difference with this. LG and Samsung are hanging on dearly to the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Me personally, I don't care if it disappears. It's fine. I've used Bluetooth for a long time. So if it goes away, it's not going to make me cry, but I know there's some people out there that are just all about this, and especially when it comes to high fidelity audio. You have the fingerprint scanner on the back side, which is in the perfect position, just like the Pixel 3 XL. I think this is the right spot if you have a fingerprint scanner. It should be on the back side in this area, not right next to the cameras like Samsung did for a few years, but that side, that is perfect. Below the volume buttons on the one side, you have a dedicated Google Assistant button. I like to have those type of things. If I have a dedicated hardware button, I would rather it be for the camera. That's something that I use more than anything else on any phone that I have. So I wish I could remap it. As far as I know, I don't think you can remap the LG V40 button. I think there's some workarounds and stuff, but inside the software, I haven't seen anywhere where you can remap. So if you could, that would be fantastic. But I mean, if it's going to be mapped to anything, I'm glad it's Google Assistant and not, LG didn't come out with their own assistant like Bixby or something like that. I'm cool with it being just this, but I do wish I could remap it at least to, internal phone functions. Like I said, the camera would be awesome. Screen is amazing, 6.4-inch OLED. So, I mean, it's up there with the larger screens like everybody else is doing. Resolution on this one is 1440 by 3120. I've got no complaints about the screen. It's rich, it's vibrant. The viewing angles, which I really don't care about, but people ask about that. Viewing angles are really good. It's a really good looking phone. I think the only complaint I would have is after using some other phones from this year, this one doesn't go like true edge to edge. It uses a lot of the front real estate. There's a very defined black bar around the whole thing that when you compare it to other flagships in 2018, this one looks like not like the rest. This has got 6 gigs of RAM. It's running the Snapdragon 845. Battery is a 3300 milliamp hour battery, which is really good. I'm getting my normal, I'm sort of a power user if you want to put that label on me, but I use my phone a lot. This is no exception, and just like the Pixel 3 XL, my iPhone, I can get one full day out of them. Sometimes midday or so, I have to hit it with a fast charge. Not a big deal, it's one day. Every phone is either one day or less. This is one day, so I'm giving it a big thumbs up for the battery. Some benefits of this screen, you got Dolby Vision and HDR10 compliant, so if you have media that can give you that kind of output, this screen will let you take advantage of it. So right now it's only running Android 8.1. I don't know how well LG is up on their updates when it comes to the Android operating system. I would hope everybody at this time is pretty good with it, but so like I mentioned before, you got 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, but if that seems light to you, you have an SD card right next to the SIM on the same tray, and that's going to give you up to another 512 gigs. So this is one of the few phones that still has the option of give you micro SD expansion. So that's a big plus in my book. So this phone also gives you what is pretty much standard now is fast charging. You get 50% in about 36 minutes. That's quick charging 3.0. You also have fast wireless charging as well. Pricing for this is about $750. I've seen it all the way up to $850. So I think if you find it around $750, you're doing well. I think it's a good phone for that price range. You're in there with the iPhone XR at that point, which nowadays at the end of 2018, $750 is getting down to budget phone pricing. That is insane, but that is the world we live in right now. So let's talk about the software. This is, it's Android, like I said, 8.1. It has an LG skin on it. I'm not a huge fan of LG skins. It doesn't have the things like Android 9 does where you have like all the apps. You can hide the apps. This is Android 8 where there's no app drawer, so everything lives out there, much like an iOS device. I'm not really a fan of that. My iOS devices, I put everything in folders because I don't like everything just scattered about. On my Pixel 3 XL, I like to have everything hidden except for the apps that I'm using. So if I had a choice, I would want an app drawer more than this kind of feel. But other than that, I mean, it's fine. Keyboard's really good. It's large, which I like. There's not really much to say about it. LG skins have been LG skins for the last 4 years or so. They make little tweaks and stuff. Nothing super fancy, nothing too out of bounds like a Samsung, nothing too pure like a Pixel. You fall somewhere in between. I got no real complaints about it, but for me, Android needs to be pure Android, clean Android, vanilla Android, however you want to say it. So let's get into what is the star of this whole phone, and that's the 5 cameras. I've seen a lot of videos when this first dropped. Everybody's thumbnail and everybody's title was phone with 5 cameras. Is it a gimmick? Is it not? There is some gimmicks in this software. To me, I would never ever use it. I'll use one part of it, and let's just talk about that right now. There's something called triple shot, and in triple shot, it takes all 3 cameras. You hit the shutter button once, and it will take 3 different photos from the 3 different cameras: wide, medium, and zoom. The thing that's gimmicky about it is like really bad transitions and zips them into one. I don't know why you would ever do it. If you're taking 3 photos of the same exact thing, I don't need to zoom in on them, and I don't know, it just seems odd. And then the cheesy music that it adds, it could just go away. Something I did notice that Marquez brought up in his review of it a while back is that you get 3 different photos from the 3 different cameras, which makes sense because it's actually 3 different sensors. But you would think that being all on the same phone, you would get very close color reproduction. Sometimes the contrast is off from one, exposure's off from one, the colors look different. It's just not, they didn't do a good job of at least trying to match those 3 up. So if you are going to take like the triple shot and you're going to use that gimmicky transition thing, they look like, even though they're the same photo, they look very, very different just because of the different colors. Sometimes it's not as bad as other times, but still, it's something to be aware of. Then when you get to the front facing, like I said, the wide angle is not, I mean, I'm getting maybe 6 inches or more extra. So if you're into selfies, at least you have the option for it. So big ups for that. But the camera application itself has all kinds of stuff built in. You got Google Lens built in, which is great. You have a portrait mode, which is okay. I mean, the Pixel 3 is king of the road with that, so anything else really, to me, is almost unusable, but it's not bad. You got triple shot, and then you have something called AI Cam, which is going to give you, it's going to set everything up for you, the scene, make sure it gets pictures, people smiling, all that kind of stuff. So that's cool if you use that kind of stuff. I basically just put my stuff on auto and let it roll. You also have the ability to do your filters, live filters, Nothing real different. The rear camera will do up to 4K at 60 frames per second. So another iPhone can do that. The Pixel 3 XL cannot, so that's good to see. Front facing, you can only do 1080 video. It's got stabilization that works pretty well. I mean, overall, the camera is really, really good. You have the 5 cameras, which, you know, is a tad gimmicky, but I like at least having the wide and regular cameras on mine. I mean, the zoom, I guess that's great, but if I'm going to use something, it's more than likely going to be just the standard and wide angle. So let's talk about the cameras on the back just to give you the specs. The 27mm, which is the standard, is a 12 megapixel f1.5. Telephoto is 12 megapixels 52mm at f2.4. And the ultra wide is 16 megapixels at 16 millimeters at f1.9. The front camera, the standard is an 8 megapixel with 26 millimeters, and then the wide is 5 megapixels at 21 millimeters. So not a huge variance for that wide angle. So that's gonna be it. Just a quick look at the LG V40 ThinQ. I'm a big fan of this phone. Like I said, in the price range, I think it's very competitive with the iPhone XR. Obviously, if you're in the iOS ecosystem, you're gonna lean towards the XR. I think the LG V40 is a great option for you. If you wanna stay away from $1,000 phones, I think this one's great. Build quality on it's fantastic. Battery life is great. The cameras are really good. Not amazing, but the cameras are really good. The overall experience with this phone is great. The size of it's really good. The screen's beautiful. I think if you purchase this phone, you're not going to be disappointed. So if you do, or you have it already, let me know down in the comment section below what your favorite features are about it. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see how you guys are using it compared to how I'm using it. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, you can give me the thumbs up. If you've yet to subscribe, you can do that down below as well. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.